welcome back to part 9, I believe, of hacking and improving my productivity. I'm really excited to be here this week. I got some great news. Parts 1 through 8, all the work that has been going in, was just pushed to production a couple days ago, and I already was able to use it to improve my own productivity. So I'm beyond excited to talk about how I'm actually getting use out of this new brain sensor that we created. I'm also really excited this week. I got my sidekick, company mascot Lucy over here. She's about 6.5 years old and has just always been my biggest supporter. So it's great to have her here as well. I think she's gonna enjoy the stream as much as I do. Isn't that right, Lucy? So I'm really excited. So this was a big work that was pushed. I can show a little bit of it. And show you sort of what I'm talking about, and I'll show you why I'm excited. But something crazy happened where I was having trouble focusing, which is something I struggle with all the time. And I put my headset on, and about like 5-6 minutes later, I went and looked at the data that was being recorded, my focus data, and it showed that I was distracted. And just seeing that I was distracted, I don't know what it did, but it flipped the switch in me. And 30 minutes later, I was like, wow, the work is done. And the thing I wanted to get done, the code that I wanted to get written was written. And that was really the first time that I actually had used, seen something where I wanted to get work done. I wasn't able to get work done. Visualizing this biological system that I am in a way with this new code that we've written allowed me to actually overcome and become a better programmer and a better, more focused person, because we believe that the best programmers have focus, and so they're just really good at focus, and that's what I want to be good at, and that's what I'm trying to use this system to be better at. And so I was really excited. So literally I was sitting here, I put my headset on, and that was it, and I was like, holy smokes, this is it. This is the holy grail, right? Because if we can actually create a system that allows you to see that, hey, you are distracted and there's something bigger going on than you're able to then make sense of that and become more focused. And that's what I was really excited about. If you have any questions about that, or you just want to engage throughout the time, or you have questions and you're watching the stream after it's been recorded, feel free to drop a comment in and I'll come back around and answer that. But I'm happy to engage. I'm happy to teach. I love what we do. And I love this idea of becoming a better, more focused programmer. So let me show you sort of what I was working on and what just got merged. And I'm really excited about it. So if we come over here, and I have the date written down, it's April 30th. So we go ahead and transition over here. April 30th. This is the day. I mean, this was like everything we've been working towards, worth it. Okay. So here you can see a morning session that was this is like pretty standard data, I'd say. This is a solid working session, right? Where I start off and it's pretty consistent throughout. There's not a lot of dips down here. There's not a lot of zeros, right? And it's pretty even. And that's what you want to see. Like, that's like your mind is focused. It's not changing, like it's going. But then the second part of the day down here, look at this. This is when I was distracted at about like 2:30. I was very distracted. I really wanted to get work done. I couldn't get anything done. I was looking at my phone. I was looking at like Twitter. I was all over the place. I just couldn't have that focused thought. And then all of a sudden I put the headset on. I put my Notion on, and I was still distracted. It didn't like save anything. It didn't make me better, but I put the headset on, and then all of a sudden, like, I went and looked at this data. So I put it on at 2:35, right? I went and looked at it. I'm like, holy smokes, look at all those distractions, right? And then all of a sudden I saw that and I was like, okay, you know what? Like, it's not just me. Like, there's something else going on here. And I was able to kick it into high gear. And you can see, this is 39 minutes. So it's 10 minutes longer than this morning session that had 18 distractions. Let me make sure you guys can see this. But this one, so it was a less efficient session, right? In one of my previous videos, we defined efficiency by the total amount of time that you're productive divided by the total amount of time of the session. But you can see here that I really got my stuff in gear. I mean, I really locked it in, and this is when the really good code was getting written, and it worked. And I was just like, yes, like, that's what I've been chasing. That's the desire that I want. It's the desire to be able to, like, make sense of this biological system, to leverage that to become a better programmer. And I was like, holy smokes, this is amazing. So the thing I want to work on this time, this session, is can we create like a sentiment, right? Can we create a sentence of sentiment along the session? Could we have something that says, wow, AJ, you were distracted in the beginning, but you really locked it in there midway and you finished strong, right? Or can we get something evolved to a point where we say, hey, you were really good in the beginning, your middle was good, but at the end you started waning, you should go take a break, right? And it's this idea of providing just even more amounts of feedback to the user that sort of helps them grow. And so that's sort of what I want to take a crack at today. I don't know if I'm going to be successful in getting this done, but I know that this data in here is just a great sample of being distracted, locking it in, and finishing stronger. So I really want to produce something like, AJ, congrats, you locked it in, like right after the summary. How cool would that be? I mean, that'd be awesome. In this one, it would just be like, solid. Good job, AJ. You nailed it. You maintained a steady amount. Like, good job. So, Diet Coke, of course. I have some coffee if need be, but these are the tools. Cool. So yeah. So I was just like, this is it. Like, the powers within. Like, this was I don't know, just a huge exciting moment for me personally to be here though, because this is it. Alex, I don't know if you guys saw the end of my last video, but I had like the meter in there and I was starting to mess with flex. I did these games to learn Flexbox with HTML5. I highly recommend it. I'd love to see if I can pull that up, whatever it was. It was like, let me see here, Flex. What the heck was Flexbox Zombies. If you guys are trying to learn Flexbox, and Flexbox is used to style your HTML components using CSS. I did the first 4 levels of this. It was super useful. I definitely need to go see what Flex Grow is, but at least learning flex direction, justify content, align items, align self. I mean, these were incredibly useful for me to learn. And then we were able to get like a couple different views where you're able to see like a higher level view of everything, which is really great. So when you have like more than 3-4 sessions in a day, you're able to come back and see what it looks like, which is super useful at a high level. And then if you want to break down into it, you can hit that. You can put on your calm data, right? And you can see how calm, that's like your flow state we sort of associate with how it changes over time. And it's so fascinating to see how these different events, like how these different metrics change over time. Like this one, you can see that there is correlation in the beginning where I'm not, focused, but then this sort of increases over time at a more steady rate versus the focus, which is lower, but then increases towards the end. But it's just different, and I think it's so fascinating to be able to see the difference, and maybe the sentence that we create during the session allows us to take into account focus and calm, right? And then we'll keep adding more and more, different features, or different APIs for the brain. But I think these two APIs can really be pretty powerful together. So yeah, at a high level, I think I explained pretty well what I want, and we can start playing around with this sentence here, or this whole thing here. And I think the way it's going to work is, let me see here. If I click over here, and this is obviously running localhost 3000. So I did my, npm start. And if we go over here to session, we could see something like, where is it? Right in here. Yeah, extract data. I think that's it. Okay, so this is where we're actually extracting the data, and then this is where we're calculating like the amount of the quality, right? That's the total amount of time focused. divided by the total time of the session, right? That's what's actually creating that efficiency score. So this could be an interesting area to try and put the sentence creation. Maybe it's a little high level, or maybe we want to do this in a separate function to keep them separate. But extract data, let's see, and that returns an object, but we're spreading that object over here. So we could have something here. Let's try this. Let's just stay focused on focus for now. There's a couple different states here that you'll see, but let's just say dot dot dot. We want this to be like extract how do you spell sentiment? Oh boy. Focus metrics. Let's just try that. So this is going to be a function that runs and returns the sentiment. We can have something called like do we want to do this here? Actually, let's keep this simple for now. Let's put this in extract data. That's the simplest way. Keep focused. Okay. Let's put it in here. And if we want, we can of course call another function. But at least in here we have like some cleanliness to the data. Or we know it's been qualified a little bit, so I think this is where we want to start. So at the end of this session, and before I get too far into it, let me just go ahead. So I do track my focus during this session. Put my Notion on. This is the Notion. It's expandable. It measures my brain activity, creates that focus score all locally on it, has authentication, has great battery life, everything you need is right there. And that's really the secret to becoming a better programmer for myself right now is tracking. Okay, so let's just say that at the end here, we're gonna say const sentiment, I'm a terrible speller. Let's just Google this. Sentiment. Okay, I got it right. Sentiment is equal to get sentiment. Oh boy, spelled that wrong once again. Sorry, terrible at spelling. I'm an engineer, you know. I can be bad at spelling. Okay, so let's see here. Get sentiment, and we're gonna end up sending this our metrics. Probably also send it, you know, maybe quality. Well, let's just send it metrics at first. And since we already have an average here, let's just hack off that average. Do we have an average here? It's right there. I don't really want to send this. Let's try and do it dynamically. Let's not worry about optimizations yet. Let's just try to get sentiment. Okay. And for right now, then we'll pass sentiment, element of QRST. I always keep everything alphabetical. Get sentiment is going to come down here, and we're going to say function, get sentiment. It's going to take metrics. It's going to open, and we're going to return. You did, you know, let's just say awesome. Let's default to awesome session. Way. Oops. Turn off that. Awesome session. Way to Way to go. Exclamation point. All right. So now we're going to return sentiment, and then we can end up putting sentiment, if we come back over here to session, and we come up here, and we go session.sentiment. That should work. So there we have our sentiment, right? It's pretty cool. And this is the current session that's happening right now, by the way. So yeah, so now we can at least see how easy that is, right? Using React to just tap that onto there. Well, we're really using anything, but. So now we can say something like, I talked to Alex for like very briefly about this. And one of the things that he sort of said is like, well, if you could divide it down into 3 parts. So let's just say, let's have like a minimum number of metrics that we want. Let's have a minimum number of metrics. Oh, I need to switch back over to coding on laptop. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me show you that again. If we look over here, you can see that I added in this get sentiment function that is on the bottom of extract data. And here you can see now, when I rerun this, you can see that we've been going for 4 minutes. I've had a total of 9 distractions with 4 minutes of productive time, so pretty good. I don't think there's really been that many distractions. So we'll see, but it's counting these little dips here. Yep, probably count this as a dip too. So yeah, so we can see that's working. And now we can see that this awesome session way to go is what's added in. Right? So that's what we're going to dynamically create though. So let's just say if metrics dot length is less than 5 minutes, 5 times 60, there's about a metric a second, we're going to say return null, which should work, I think, on these shorter sessions. Let's just test this out and say, 10. So we shouldn't see it here. Okay, so yeah, so if it's less than 5 minutes, we won't see this. We'll return null. Okay, so that way at least okay. Alright, so now let's go and break down the session into different chunks. Let's say there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, okay? And let's say we're gonna have to do some divide by 3, but let const chunk size is equal to metrics dot length divided by 3. Obviously, we're gonna have to do like a math dot floor or something like that, just to make sure that chunk size is valid. So because if you just did metrics dot length divided by 3, there's a good chance that you'll get like a 10 divided by 3 type action, right? So if you had 100 or 600, 700 divided by 3, it wouldn't be evenly divisible, and you end up with an uneven chunk size. So now that we have a chunk size defined, let's go ahead and say let's split it. And what's the best way to split an array in JavaScript? I don't know. Split. I mean, in Python, I could do it in a pretty easy split. JS array into chunks. Oh, look at that. This chunks really is the right way. Splice. All right. It does return a new array, so good. Start, end. All right, so let's just say const chunk1 is equal to chunk start is equal to metrics dot splice, and we'll have it start at 0, and it'll go to chunk size, and then we'll have const chunk middle, and that'll be equal to metrics. I know this is ugly, but let's just hack it for a sec. And it's going to start at chunk size, and it's going to end at chunk size times 2. And then we're going to say const chunk end, and this is going to be equal to metrics dot splice, and this is going to be equal to chunk size times 2, and chunk size times 3. Awesome. So now that we have these 3 different chunks, we can start sort of understanding some different things about it. And there's potential here that we're going to want to I'm just thinking that there's potential here that we may want to just have this like chunk start be an object that has a bunch of information about that chunk. So yeah, let's just make a new function, and we'll call this function breakdown chunk. I'm going to say metrics, and then we're going to return an object that has, like, I don't know, average, maybe the variance, and let's just try this for now. Let's just do average first. I have a couple ideas here how this is going to get actually pretty sweet. And let's just say, const average is equal to metric. I think it's like get. I'm pretty sure I made a function that does this. It's called average metrics. Average metrics. We're going to take metrics, and then we're going to return that. And so chunk start, chunk middle, and chunk end now all have an object called average. And of course we can start, or not yet actually, because they need to have breakdown chunk. This is going to be control click, or alt click. What's that? Option click on Mac. Allows you to select multiple. Break down chunk. And we put that there. Perfect. Okay, so now chunk start, chunk middle, chunk end. We can start adding more things in here, like the variance. Like, let's say we want to get the variance. Maybe that'll tell us something. I think it will. Let's just say get calculate variance in JS. Probably takes an array, so we're going to have to convert that to an array. Cool, look at that. It does return the variance. And variance is equal to wiki variance. It's like how much the data changes across the middle. So if we look at variance is I guess there's a little more to it, but It measures how far a set of random numbers are spread out from their average. So essentially, variance here would be, if we go look at that magical day of April 30th, variance here, dun, 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 variance over this focus data in the first chunk will be higher, lower, middle. Okay? This will have the smallest variance, this will have middle variance, and this will have the largest variance. I want to use that. Okay, so let's do that. It looks like there's Math.js. This is an extensive math library for JavaScript and Node.js. That's great. How do you install it? Get started. npm install Math.js. So we'll come over here and we'll open up a new terminal and we'll say npm install. Whoops. Okay, it looks like we can just import our variance from here. Import variance. Yeah. Okay. So now it installed it, so now we can come up here and we're gonna say variance. Boom. Always keeping everything alphabetical. The way Alex has been doing this is like anything from React or that like has to do with the DOM is the first set of imports, and then it's stuff from npm is the second set of imports, and then stuff from local files is the third set of imports. Okay. So now we're gonna end up taking this line here too. We can actually just make a function called function variance of metrics, and then we're gonna say metrics, and we're gonna do something like this, and we're gonna say return metrics dot map metric, because remember, metric is an object that has a property called probability, and that's what we actually care about, probability. We're gonna map that, and we're probably going to then say variance of metrics. And let's test this in the REPL browser real quick. You know, that's, if you've been watching me code, you know I love this little REPL browser. I think it's, oh, that's not gonna work. We're gonna have to do const variance. May not work. Const. Can you do that? Variance. I don't think you can. Is equal to require Math.js. Did that work? Oh, that worked. Okay. Okay. Dang. Alright, so now we can say, if we go back over here and let's just take this example here, we could say something like const item is equal to an array of objects that have probability. Is that the right spelling? Yes, it is. Probability. And this is going to be 2, and we'll end up taking this 4, 6, and 8. Lock that in. Okay, now item, you know what it is, and now we can say variance of metrics, take item in 6.6. Okay, so that's working because that's the same, that's expected over here. If you can see that, check that out. See that? That's awesome. Okay, so now we can come over here. We know this function's gonna work. Okay, and now we can, all we have to do down here is say const variance is equal to, do we want to do that? I think it's fine. I don't know if we can get away with naming another constant because we already have this up here. So let's just not do that. Let's just call this metrics variance. We're going to say variance of metrics, and we're going to send it metrics, and then we're going to send this. And instead of just doing that, we're going to do variance. Today's one of those days where spelling is harder. Do metrics variance. Oh, cool. Okay, so I think that will be good. I really think variance will probably be the biggest thing here. So now we have, when chunk start, chunk middle, and chunk end will each have a variance, and something we want to look at. Let's just have fun with this, and I don't know if chunk start dot variance is greater than chunk middle variance, and we'll copy this, and chunk end then let's return way to lock it in and finish, lock it in midway and finish strong. Stronger than you started. I don't know. Let's just try that. Because ideally, and maybe we should do a little console logging here. Console.log. And this is going to be chunk start, chunk middle. I just want to know what they are. Okay. All right, cool. And we probably need to print out what session we are. I know that's helpful. It's okay, actually. Let's just okay, someone's mad at me. Function variance requires one or more parameters, 0 provided. Cool. So something happened that isn't good. I wonder, I thought this is going to return an array. Alright, so someone's mad at me. This little thing's mad at me. Let's try and figure out why. So that does return an array. So I'm surprised that this is, you know, throwing an error. Let's just say const, because metrics here should really never be 0, right? I mean, no, it shouldn't be. Should have items in it, has to. That means that probably something's wrong with the splice function. So I think this is working. So let's go, before we jump into like, is that not working? Let's go look at log, let's just do metrics, and we'll just have this equal to 0. Although really, let's protect in here, and let's say if metrics dot length. I think we can not it, and we can say not. Then we can return 0. So at least we're protecting from that. It won't crash right now. Okay. So now we're back over here. Keep in mind, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Okay, so we're getting some nans on the last one. Super cool. And this function is running a lot. We should look into that. Oh, I think I know why though, because it's constantly being updated. If I go to an older day, oh boy, why is this function running so much? That's not good. Anyway. So it's really the last, the chunk end is the one that's causing an error. Okay, something we can work with. Let's go take a peek at what that chunk end looks like. Chunk size times 3. I mean, if we said math.floor of, whoa, uh-oh, my computer is dying right now. Oh boy. Don't be surprised if I lose the stream. Oh no, what did I do? Oh boy. I'm just checking some math real quick. So that'd be 255, and then that'd be 255 to chunk size times 2. $765. Yeah, it really shouldn't, because I honestly I thought that we wouldn't have an error there. So let's see here. Why would that be causing an error? Alright, something is happening here that I'm not sure why. Divide the size by 3. breakdown chunk is going to console.log metrics. Let me see what metrics is. It's empty. You see it right there, it's just empty. Let me just do this real quick. Let's play with this over in this browser. Or in this console. So right now I'm gonna, Alex showed me this trick not that long ago. So what we're gonna end up doing is taking this variable, store it as a global variable, and we're going to end up saying it's now stored as temp1. So we're gonna say temp1 temp2, temp3. I know the issue. This splice is changing the size of the array. So I really don't want this to change the so this function splice is changing the size of the array. So really you would just have like the same thing called over and over again. This is really, I guess, the way that they would want it, but I don't want to get rid of that data. Like, that's really how the makers of JavaScript want that, but I don't really want it, that function at least. Splice non-mutate. Is it slice? Yeah. Okay, it's slice, not splice. Okay. All right. One little word one little letter is going to change everything. Boom. Okay. That's really the operation that I want. If you want me to break down as to why that's important to use slice versus splice, let me know. I can explain that more, but that's why it was important. So now if we come over here, I really don't know why this is running like that. I would like to figure that out though. We have, let's see here. Let's go back to the good day, April 30th. Okay, look, see there, it actually is doing it. So it actually did work the way we wanted it to. And you can see here, a way to lock it in midway and finish stronger than you started. And that's because the variance in the beginning is higher than the variance in the middle and the variance at the end. See that? How cool is that? So we're already getting like a little bit better. So that's awesome. So it's already starting to work. So instead of way to lock it in, let's just say way to recover and finish strong. Okay. And now we can say, let's see. I really don't like why this is being called so many times. I'll look into that after this session. Okay. So way to recover and finish strong. And now let's go look at another scenario, right? Let's look at. So right now I'm actually doing pretty well right now in this current session. Still says way to recover, so it starts off in the beginning with higher variance, and it's not that much different though. I wonder how different the let's take a look here. Chunk start. That's gotta be the top one. So I'm looking. Yeah, you can see how much higher the variance is for this one than it is for these two. So that's locked in right on these three. So you can see here 0.10, 7, 0.07, and 19 here. So the variance is way higher. Versus like the current session that's going on, the variance is not as bad. So I wonder if there's a way that we can sort of say I mean, we could say something like, and the chunk start is greater than the variance of the chunk middle, or the chunk end. Let's go look at some data that I didn't do as well on. Okay, I also think we need to take a look at, before we get too far, we need to look at why this is being called so many times. Let's go look up here. Is day metrics changing? I know selected day isn't changing, but for some reason I think this hook is running over and over again, but day metrics really shouldn't be changing. I'm going to try and figure out why this is printing so much, because this is really slowing everything down and it's pretty annoying. It's running every time this thing gets updated, I think. Yeah, so there it is running. So for some reason day metrics is being constantly mutated. But you can see here, which is really interesting, that the number's not even changing, right? It's 5231, 5231. That number's not mutating. So for some reason though, and I know selected day isn't changing. I wonder if it has something to do with this. Sorted day metrics. Ooh, I bet that's it. I bet this sort function is running every single time. Yep, look at that. Sorted day metrics. Oh, I know why this is happening. I don't know the solution, but essentially what's happening is every time this function re-renders, this sorted day metrics is being refired. So I wonder if we could like put a hook on. Yeah, and then this sort function is calling it. I wonder what the right solution here is. So let's just play around with this for a little bit. I may not solve this one today, but it's certainly one that I would like to. And I just want to see if day metrics changed. I just want to see if this changes anything. What is it, Lucy? Partner in crime is saying something's up. What's up, Lucy? Okay. Got it. Okay, this will probably be better. Should see day metrics changed. There. Okay, let's do this. Let's fix this disaster. Okay, so what we're gonna end up doing here is we're gonna say sorted day metrics, which is being fed down into the sessions component. We're probably gonna try and use the state and say, yeah, it's there. Okay. Don't know if this is the right thing, but let's just say, take the name of that. Sorted day metrics, and we're going to say set sorted day metrics, and then we're going to say use state, and we're going to have this initialized to null for now, and then we're going to come in here and we're going to do this same thing, something like this. I guess we'll need to put in sorted day metrics, and then we'll end up, we can say, ooh, I don't know how we bail out of this though. I don't know if we actually need that. We'll say const new or day, let's make this really obvious, day metrics copy. So we're going to copy this array, and then we're going to say, so we're going to sort it by timestamp, and then we're going to say set sorted day metrics, and we're going to say day metrics copy. And then we're going to say sorted day metrics. Okay. Cool. I don't know if I need to add sorted day metrics to this. I don't think I do. Alright. Thought I got rid of that. Okay. What's going on here? Okay. Someone's mad. That's okay. Someone can be mad. What is the error? An effect function must not return anything besides a function. You returned null. Wait. Hang on a second. Oh. I thought it could return null. But I didn't return anything? It's so weird. I mean, we could say something like this. If day metrics is that the fix that it wants? Nope. It's saying sorted day metrics too. So it's like kind of working. Did I like have a typo or something? It looks pretty similar. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see here. Destroy is not a function. I don't think I don't understand why it's doing that. I don't think you would want to return undefined. Is use effect like not? No, it is. Hmm. So weird. This is like the most basic hook, and I can't figure out why this isn't working. What? Well, it's not. Hmm. So weird. I wonder if I put this back in. And we comment this out. Whoop. Do I still get that error? Wait a minute. Did I say use effect? Use state? That's right. Sorry, y'all. I don't know what the issue is here. I wonder if this fixes that. Oh, there's no error now. Okay, so that's weird. And now that error is away. Must be something in sessions that's like use affecting on day metrics. It's got to be this one that's messing it up. But that's the issue. It's not the use effect that I'm messing with. Okay. Sorted day metrics. It's an array. Let's just make sure this is still working. Okay. Let's try this. Aha. Alright, we did it. Okay, so I think we really fixed that performance issue though, where it was being calculated over and over again, and we can go verify that by putting this over here, and if we go over to sessions and we go to get metrics by activity, and we come down here and we reprint. I don't know why I got rid of all those. Log. Let me do this. All right. And then we come over here and we click and we click and we console log this, and do this, this with a comma and a that and a this and a hit that. Boom, done. All right. Now we should see this only run one time, and that was because we're now using a use effect instead of calculating it every single time that function's re-rendered. We only compute the session information one time. Check that out. See, it used to be firing like crazy, right? Now it's only one time. How much nicer is that for performance? I can literally hear the difference with my computer. Okay. So now we can really start having some fun with this. It's interesting that the variance is changing. I'm just looking at the data from this current session. How the variance is changing less as time goes on with my headset. It's pretty interesting. Along with the average value. And I have seen this decreasing trend, and I'm normally pretty productive in these times. Just a way to recover and finish strong. I don't really want it to say that. Okay, you know what? Let's take a break here, though. I'm going to come back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll be able to finish this up, but I'm pretty excited with how far we got. Let me switch this back over. So you can see I'm wearing the Neurosity Notion headset. This is a super cool headset that allows me to track my productivity through focus and calm metrics. I used it the other day when I discovered that I was the variance of my focus data was all over the place for the first like 10 minutes. I saw that, I internalized that, I got focused, and I got the work done. So just simply by letting yourself know that you are off track is really a great way to get back on track. So tomorrow, join me at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be back here wearing the Notion, programming, and we'll create a bunch more sentences to, make sense of this data and have some fun with it, and really identify like what are those good sessions versus those bad sessions. And I really enjoy this, and I hope you do too. If you have any questions, drop a comment below, and I'll be sure to answer that in the stream tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming by. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there.